Good evening and welcome to the Dracut Connection. I'm Brian Bond and I'll be your lead co-host for this evening. I'm joined tonight by our co-host, Mr. John Zimity, co-host, Mr. Gordy Scott, and co-host, Mr. George Bogue. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
How are you?
Good evening. Well, you guys kicking? This intro is a little tough. You know, we got the intro playing. We're out here in Zoom land, so we got to kind of stay on the phone, wait for the intro to stop, and then be quiet in between. And here we are. So again, today is June 4th. We've had a really busy week. We've had John Zimity out on assignment. We called him back up to that assignment. Gordy Scott, he came in, and they did a great job. A job better than I could have ever done, right? And we're going to get into a little bit of that later on. On tonight's agenda, we want to talk about we're going to have Sean Kelly to start off, but then we're going to talk about the selectmen's race, school committee race, 25% tax increase. That's on the ballot question. We want to chat about Rich Cowan. We took a little bit of a whack at us over on the Dracut Civic Watch. We want to get into town meeting. We're going to talk about the Black Lives Matter rally that John and Gordy covered locally. We want to talk a little bit about national Black Lives Matter rallies. And then I want to chat about the new interim police chief. And if any of you guys got any other issues, that'll be great. But what I want to share one stat with you guys prior to jumping into the weather, right? So I'm going to share the stat with you and the folks at home, and I wanted you to take a look at this. And again, we're out here. We're looking out for you. The Dracut Connection. We got 2,700 likes, and we were only up 3% from last week, and we had 15 posts. But we had over 9,000 people engage in our conversations with us and look at our stuff. And I compare that to Saturday Morning Lies, where they've got 969 folks that are following them. And they've had 9 posts this week, but they only had 807 people engage. So, and that's because of the work that you three gentlemen are doing on the Dracut Connection. And I'd like to thank you for that. Any quick comments before we turn it over to Sean Kelly, our weather guy? Go ahead, Mr. Zimity.
Yes, I actually had an occasion to listen to WCAP the other Saturday. And your buddy, Mr. Bond, Jerry Nutter, the guy that you text once in a while, he took a whack at the show by saying, those guys are whacking you, the king of the nation. And the king didn't say a word. He just flew right over it. All he said was, "You watch that? Why do you even watch that?" He watches it because he's got to inform the boss of what's going on, right? So, anyways, I just thought you'd be interested to know that he took a whack at you because you did this the last time we had it. And your buddy Jerry Nutter likes to give you a whack. The one-termer out of the Lowell School Department got hammered in the last election. I'm sure he's watching tonight. So.
Gordy, any quick comments before we go?
By the way,
I just think that the Dracut Connection is doing a great job keeping people informed and doing the right thing. That's all you can ever ask for. So
there you go. And I got to reach over and ask George Bowe because he's looking good again. I swear he's running for the Colleen Gary seat again. George, what are your thoughts on the Dracut Connection and us getting the word out?
Yeah, I think the interesting part of the numbers is the engagements. I mean, if you see some of these posts, I mean, people go back and forth on them for a couple of days, and I think that's where people actually learn stuff is through people's comments, not necessarily the post itself.
And we allow people to comment no matter what they say, right? They don't have to drink our Kool-Aid for them to be able to post there. And disagreeing is a great form of government. So
that also makes it more interesting. I mean, who the hell wants to read it if everyone agrees?
Right. All right. So I'm going to reach out to Ron. Ron's at the studio. We're going to go over to Sean Kelly. should be a couple minutes. Ron's going to text me back. Hopefully, I'm paying attention and we time this perfect, right? Who knows? But Ron, take it away. Let's catch the weather with Sean. How are you, Sean?
Hi guys, thanks for having me on the Dracut Connection again tonight. As you probably noticed today, it was a warm day. It was very warm, and the humidity not bad. It's as we start to head into tomorrow, you're going to really start to feel it. It's going to become uncomfortable tomorrow, but the dew point's near 70 for tomorrow, so it's going to be a little bit more sticky tomorrow. As we head into your Thursday night, for tonight, 66 degrees we're going to drop down to, becoming cloudy. Winds coming from the southwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. As we head into your Friday, there could be a few rumbles of thunder early on Friday morning between 3 and 5 a.m., so keep an eye out for that. As we head through the day tomorrow, it's not going to be a washout, but there will be a few chances for some pop-up showers and even some storms, especially in the Berkshire County, all the way up into Worcester County, and maybe into Middlesex County as we head into the evening hours, early evening. After that, it's going to start to head south. So tomorrow, 87 degrees. Keep an eye out for the chance for a shower or even a thunderstorm. As we head into your Friday night, again, it could be a rumble of thunder or two, especially Boston south. That's going to be the best chance as we enter your Friday night for a chance for a shower or even a thunderstorm. 69 degrees we're going to drop down to on Friday night. As we enter Saturday, 84 degrees for high temp. Saturday morning, especially anytime between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Saturday, that's going to be your best chance to see a few showers on your Saturday. 84 degrees, a spotty, so it won't be a washout, but there will be a chance for a few showers on Saturday. As you head into your Saturday night, it's going to become clear, 59 degrees. We're going to drop down to. Here is a look at your exclusive 8-day forecast. Transfer showers and storms on Friday all the way up into Saturday. Sunday right now looks a little bit unsettled. There could be a chance for a few showers, 74 degrees for a high temp. As we head into next week, we're going to warm it up again, going into the 80s next week. And that's it from everybody. Back to you guys in the studio.
Hey, welcome back to the Dracut Connection. Hoping we time that as good as John Zimmerman does when he's running the show.
Showers and storms on Friday all the way up into Saturday.
So that was a good weather report. The weekend originally was going to look really bad, so it seems to be kind of maybe getting a little bit better. Obviously, we're going to do some mountain climbing, so those are all good things. Hey, I wanted to start off again with the town election, the selectmen's race, and a few folks at home noticed that Phil Tebow is not here tonight. So if any of you guys want to take a whack at him, you're welcome to do so while he's not here, right?
That'll
George, you're
teach you.
smiling. George, you're smiling, right? So,
Yeah, no, that'll teach you to take a night off. Everyone call in and trash Phil.
So, as you know, I'm going to run through the candidates, what we got. So we've got Phil Tebow, candidate for Dracut Selectman. We've got Joe Espinola, Allison Janess. We've got Heather Santiago Hutchinson, and we've got Mark Pease. Real quick, let's start off with Phil Tebow. Strong points, weak points. Let's start with you, Mr. Zimmerman. And we got to try to move this along because we got a really lot of good stuff to talk about tonight.
I was just preoccupied. I'm sorry. What did you say?
All right. So I'm going to go to Gordy Scott because he was paying attention. So you follow his lead. Gordy Scott, Phil Tebow, qualities and then items he needs to work on.
So I think Phil does a great job with a lot of stuff. He's been very active in the community. He knows a lot about Dracut, what needs to get done. And then things to work on. I think he just has to listen to the community, take their feedback, and then try to apply that where he can as being a selectman.
George Bogue, you're up.
Well, I mean, he's obviously a smart guy, knows a lot about the inner workings of the town. He's got a good plan for, economic development, stuff like that. I guess he probably needs to hone his message a little more. Just, stick to 2 or 3 items and beat people over the head with that.
Okay. So my point is Phil's a great guy. He always does what he believes is best. One of his weakest links is he's not a campaigner, and he never has been. Otherwise, he would have been a great selectman years and years ago. Mr. Zimmerman, jump in, kid.
Okay, yeah. Phil is very intellectual. He's a smart guy. He knows a lot about the town. He's been on multiple committees. I like him a lot as an individual and as a person, and I think he'd make a great selectman. I think he's becoming more politically fine-tuned and astute over the years, where he can kind of feel things out a little bit more. I think this sets up to be a very good election for Phil because nobody's really out there doing much. There are now signs coming up and things like that, but people can't knock on doors yet. So I think you have to come up with some kind of an innovative way of getting your message out. And Phil's come up with a couple of good things, and we'll get into that as we get down through the night here. But I think it's going to be a good little thing for him.
Right. Hey, just wanted to give you a heads up. Rich Cowan has jumped into the mix. We definitely want to talk about Rich about some items coming up shortly. But I want to jump into Joe Espinola. Gordy, take it away. Let's keep this thing moving really quick.
Well, Joe Espinola has got a big, huge political backing in the area. As you know, Victor Olson's a good friend of mine. He beat Victor Olson back a few years ago in the Volk school committee race. And Joe's well known around the community. So, I think Joe drinks a little bit of too much Kool-Aid, and he tries to be too politically correct sometimes. And I think that's one thing he needs to work on. He's just got to do the right thing.
Right. George?
I like Joe. I mean, he ran for state senate last 2018. Did a pretty good job. I mean, he got overwhelmed with Barry Feingold's money a little bit, and it was a tough year. I'd like to see him out there a little bit more. Again, I mean, he needs to, John alluded, it's kind of hard to get your message out, but I mean, I don't see a lot from him. I don't see a lot on Facebook. He'll maybe comment on stuff, but he's not putting his agenda forward.
John Zimini.
Yes, I like Joe. Joe was a big supporter of mine whenever I ran. I like Joe as a possible second candidate to win the seat. He's got to do something, though, and I think you're right. I think George Bold hit on it. Yeah, absolutely. He's got to get out there and start working. Someone said to me the other day that they're not sure that he really is up to running for some reason, that he just put his name out there just for the heck of it. That's not a good thing if that's what he's doing. So I hope he's not doing that. I hope he runs a campaign. I hope he sends some material out. I know that there has been a couple of things mailed out and already. So we'll get into that when you give me the cue, Brian. But the bottom line is we know that other candidates will be putting out messages. Janesse is really big on Facebook and social media. Phil is big on social media. But I'd like to see Joe get out there with some signs and do something. You can hold signs by yourself and be social distancing and show people that you want the job. Right now, I have a couple of people that say, Joe's a strong candidate, but he's going to send the wrong message if he doesn't work. So that could hurt. So let's see what happens.
All right. So my view on Joe, I think Joe's a great guy. I like Joe a lot. I think that, he could do a better job campaigning. He doesn't even have a Facebook page. And one of his biggest errors is he hasn't come on the show yet. And that hurts him because we know we mentioned it earlier that we had 9,000 people engaging with us over the past week on our Facebook post. So Allison, Janesse, Gordy, take it.
I don't know personally. I don't know Allison. I don't know much about her, but I know that she has the Brian will get out the vote on the Republican Party for her. I don't see her on Facebook much. And a lot of these candidates have an opportunity. We invite them to come on the show, and they don't take advantage of that, especially when we're in a lockdown with COVID-19. I think they're really missing out on an opportunity.
George?
Brian, we got a bunch of people watching on Facebook. You want me to shout out to some of them?
Yeah, give them a quick shout out. But
do you want me to jump in here right now?
Yeah, go
ahead. Yeah, I don't know who this guy is, Rex Kramer. Does anybody know who he is?
He did comment quite a bit last night on the Black Lives Matter coverage that you and Gordy took care of last night. So he was commenting quite a bit.
Yeah, I looked at his Facebook page today, and it didn't look like much of a page, and I'm wondering if it's a fake page. But
He's a sock.
What?
He could be a puppet.
Yeah. Jimmy Flynn's out there. Our old friend Chris Murphy's saying hello to us earlier. John McDonough has joined us. Victor Olson is in there. John Stossel, who's a good friend. My friend John Savidio. Let's see. We have Charlene Gertz, Old Faithful. She's always with us. Mandy Ayotte. Let's see. Kyle Schiff, one of my hockey players. Great kid. Great political activist. He's strong on what he's doing. But yeah, that's it right for now.
All right. So
Let me just chime in on Allison real quick. I mean, I think she's run the best campaign of the lot. She gets stuff out on Facebook. She was out knocking on doors beforehand. I see a bunch of signs. I'd have to say right now, if the election were now, she'd top the ticket.
All right. So John, I want you to jump in on Allison, and then I want you to also take Heather and Mark, so that we can kind of move this along, because we do have a cram show tonight.
Okay. Allison Janess, you're correct on that front. She has been out there campaigning before the COVID-19 started. She came out of the box really fast. She was knocking on doors. She was doing a lot of things. She's got a lot of signs out there. Signs don't vote. We know that from in the past. She's going to have a strong candidacy because she does do the work, and she's got a strong presence on Facebook. I think she's got somewhat of a backlash because she's got the endorsement of the people who recently didn't follow through on the manager's process and had voted to throw the whole thing out after spending $10,000 of taxpayer money. Just throw it out and put, Ann Vandal in the spot. She was a proponent of that as well. She said that she doesn't have a problem with what they did, but she is definitely not in the favor of people, of not everybody in Town Hall West. There's a split over that. And Joe DeRocco and Allison Hughes and Lucky Vizina have been really pushing Allison Janess. So that's going to be a little bit of a chain around her neck. As far as Mark Pease is concerned, his comments about COVID-19 and the whole 9 yards, that didn't go over well. He's now flip-flopped on taxes, where Phil has been totally right down the line. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's saying about taxes, and we can get into that when we get to the ballot question. But he's flip-flopped. So I don't want a flip-flopper in there. And pretty much, you want me to get into the dear friend cards there, Joe?
Yeah, you mentioned to me about a dear friend card today that's been going around, and there's some concern there, John. So yeah, jump right into that real quick there, kid.
Well, I want to be careful here because I'm not going to name names yet, because I really respect the two elderly people that are involved in this thing, that involved in it by accident, really, or maybe unwittingly. They don't know that they're involved. But there is Allison Janess had the pleasure of having someone from Town Hall West, one of the members of the Town Hall West Coffee Clash, send out dear friend cards asking people to vote for Allison Janess and outlining why. And this person didn't have the nerve to sign their own name to it, but they signed their 90-year-old parents' name to it. One of the parents is in a nursing home, and the other one is not feeling well at all. I'm quite sure that they don't even know about it. So it's really, I'm not going to reveal who it is at Town Hall yet, but if it's true, it's a blockbuster, and I think it is true, but I just want to dot some I's and cross some T's before I say anything else. But it's blockbuster because it's beyond the pale of ethics, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, Gordy, why don't you jump in? I want to hear your views on. We got Heather. John, you didn't mention Heather.
I didn't mention Heather. Yeah, I think Heather's an attractive candidate. I think she she understands the town somewhat. My fear is that she may be a little bit too much wedded to whatever the schools are going to want. And I think that when you're elected to the Board of Selectmen, you need to be able to be very fluid and not be so committed that anything any one group wants can get it. Because we're going to be in some tough times coming up. And you got to be a person that's not going to be, already endeared to one particular group and have to say yes to everything they want. So it's a fine line to walk, but I think she is. Ken Cody says hello, Brian, from West Michigan.
Nice.
Gene O'Leary.
What's that?
Gene O'Leary, too.
Yeah, I see Gene O'Leary. Gene O'Leary and I have been going back and forth on social media, and she used to be a good friend. I don't know what happened to her. I think she's fell off the turnip truck or something because she's so ultra liberal now. It's unbelievable. So
All right, John, we gotta move it along because we're eating
Go
up
ahead,
time.
Brian. Keep cutting me off. Go ahead.
Yep, I'm gonna because you'll talk dog off a meat wagon. All right, so go ahead, Gordy.
Again, I just won't take a lot of time, but I think one big thing in this election is it's going to be name recognition. So a lot of these candidates are new candidates, haven't been on the ballot before, so that's going to play against some of them. I think that's good news for Phil. He's been on there quite a bit, as we know. So we'll see how it plays out. I'd like to see we're centralizing the voting this year too as well. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm not sure how many people are going to come out and vote this time around. Hopefully the ballot question will get people out, but we'll see.
All right. So my take on Heather Santiago Hughes is that I listened to her and I reached out to her several times to come on the show, and her schedule is very busy. And then I saw that she had mentioned she's working 2 jobs, and she's on the finance committee, and she wasn't really sure about questions we were asking earlier, which she really should have been because there were financial questions about the town. My concern is that will she have enough time to serve as a selectman? Because as we know, the selectmen have, it's a busy job. You got to be there, you got to be available, and hopefully they will be. Mark Pease, everybody's mentioned earlier that he's a flip-flopper. He was totally against things, but then as he noticed that the Dracut Connection in the crowd started to sway against some of these these cuts that we were chatting about, he all of a sudden flip-flopped. And I'd rather have somebody in there that where they stand and where they're going to vote, not somebody that depending on which way the wind blows, that person will go in that direction. And Allison Janess, I agree, she's been working hard, but her weak point is that she neglected to come on this show and address the viewers that we have here. She felt that she was above the fray, but my question is she going to represent only the people that don't watch the show, or is she going to represent everybody in town? So that's the big question. Did we lose John Zimmerty? His photo isn't there anymore.
Probably went out for a beer. He'll be back.
As long as he gets us each a beer, I don't have a problem with that, right? He can drive around and try to grab it. So the 25% tax increase for the community preservation, the Warren Shaw tax. George, I'm going to jump out to you first and get your opinion there and see what's going on. What are your thoughts?
I never liked the idea, but right now with everything that's going on, another tax increase is the last thing we need, especially for something like CPA, which is more, parks and recs, things like that, as opposed to like basic services like police and fire.
Right. Gordy, Scott?
I'm against this one, Brian. As you know, the old town hall is still sitting there. We've given Group 2 nearly $2 million years ago, and that thing still looks the same. If you drive by the old town hall, nothing's happened there. We've given them a lot of money, and nothing's happening with that. So again, I'm going to keep an eye on that and see what happens with that. But it's just another one of the things that the people have done with the CPC money, which I just don't agree with. It. It's a big slush fund, and it can't continue the way it's running.
I agree with both of you. I think it is a big fund, and I'm a former vice chairman of the community preservation. I served there for 10 years. I thought the program did a lot of great things, but it seems of the late that people are really looking to, they're trying to spend money on whatever they can. They don't really care about the taxpayers, and the 25%, increase is something that Warren Shaw, pushed at town meeting when he had a group there that he could manipulate. And the fact of the matter is, Warren Shaw is benefiting from the community preservation. He's hayed several fields. He's got a cheap contract, only one bidder, but nobody would bid against him. In fact, we tried to, in the hay scandal, we chatted about the hay scandal quite a bit. And we tried to shoot over, and because he only claimed X amount of bales. But from what we understand, he was cutting hay at night and hauling the bales away in the middle of the night so nobody could count the bales. I mean, talk about sneaky stuff, right? So it is what it is. John Zimity, I want your opinion, and welcome back to the show. I want your opinion on the 25% tax increase. And did you have something you wanted to share with us also?
I'm totally against the CPC tax. And there's a couple of people out here that have said that. By the way, Matt Sheehan he sent a message in saying, say no to the CPC tax. And you're right on that one, Matt. Glad you're watching us tonight. So yes, I'm definitely opposed to it. And I think that it will go down in flames. And you don't want to put taxes on the table, tax raises on the table now, particularly in the middle of COVID-19, or when we just got hit the way we did. So I think that that's a bad move. In fact, I think we should be cutting taxes to give people who have been out of work. You said it the other day, Brian, 31 million people on unemployment. I mean, you're going to have people that aren't going to be able to pay their mortgages, let alone pay their taxes. So if anybody thinks that giving somebody a small 2.5% reduction in tax by not going ahead with the normal tax increase of 2.5% every year, if we just cut that out for a year, give the people a break. If they think that's going to break the budget, then we're sadly mistaken, because what's going to happen is taxes are going to be on hold. People are not going to be able to afford to pay their taxes. So I congratulate Matt Sheehan, by the way, for having the nerve to come on and say no taxes to CPC. And would he be? You want me to share that now, Brian?
Please, John. Why don't you explain what we're doing with that while you share it?
Brian, that's your baby. Why don't you pick it up and?
Okay, I can chat about it if you put it up on the screen, though, John, if you could, because I don't have it ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it right now. Let me find it. I had it a minute ago.
And I'll chit chat while you're looking. So we've had a little back and forth with Rich Cowan, because we chatted on the show last week on how we could save the taxpayers money. Again, there was like 35 million people that have been unemployed recently, and Rich Cowan is more concerned with keeping services funded than giving those 35 million people a break on their taxes. So, we're trying to find ways of saving the folks some money. And, okay, so John's got that up on the screen now. And
that's a sign that you and I worked on, and it's a great thing. We're going to have them out. When are they coming, Brian?
So these signs here, and I think I might have purchased 50 of them, John, something like that, 40 or 50 of them. Yep. And, if you folks have a high visibility location and you want a sign, reach out to anybody here on the Dracut Connection and we'll get you one over there. We want to, we did a great job at helping stop the stormwater fee last year. And we're dedicated to stopping the 25% tax increase to because the Dracut taxpayers deserve a break. So we need to stop this tax.
Our good friend Derek Santos, he just spoke up, no new taxes, good guy. And Charlie Cannabis is out there, Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy's got the right statement, Brian, that I'm going to stop that, sharing that. Chris Murphy's got the right statement right now. He says that Rich Cowan hasn't met a tax he's not in favor of. He loves it. He loves taxes. He's right. So I thought Rich was coming on, Brian.
So we did invite Rich on the show to kind of debate about this, and he reached out to me earlier. He wanted to come on the show, but he didn't want to talk about this topic. He wanted to talk about the virus and what's going on there. But we wanted to find out Rich's views. He's really pushing, not giving anybody a break and continuing to spend more money. We feel that it's time to give the citizens a break. They need a break. So there it is. We've already eaten through half of the show.
Just real quick, Brian, Rich Cowan Tech just wrote into the live stream, and he said he never said he supported the increase. He's been against it.
Brian, yeah, so you have that. Brian, tell him to call back in. Come on in and talk about it.
Yeah, right? We only got a few minutes, so he's got to jump in right away.
He wrapped us on his site, so let him come on. We'll be happy to talk to him. That's what we're here for. We're here to have a conversation, right?
Sure. We'll bring it back, definitely. I want to jump into Black Lives Matter in the local rally that took place. And again, I've got to really give John a lot of credit. He did this better than anybody could have done it. He started it off, and we're going to show a quick little video. But he went down to UMass Lowell, and he started doing a little live video in from there. And then he followed as the crowd started to gather, he followed them down to City Hall. And John, being the good soldier that he is, listening to his boss, the big boss, who wanted him not to social distance or not to go anywhere out of his vehicle and continue to social distance. Gordy Scott was viewing in. He jumped in his vehicle, and he parked blocks away, and he sprinted to John Zimmerty to grab his phone and went in there, and Gordy Scott did an awesome job as well. So any quick comments before we bring that up?
I'll jump in if nobody else wants to jump in right away. I'll tell you, Gordy was awesome to come down and do what he did. He did what I wanted to do, and he did a great job of it. He got some really good commentary from some people. There was one woman who was really passionate, and he was really in there, with the woman. I wouldn't have hugged her only because of the COVID-19. I would have virtual hugged her, but not during this. I wouldn't have. But you're right, Brian. I couldn't get out of I got out of the car, but I was 50 feet, 100 feet away from people, and I had my mask on. But I promised my wife that I wouldn't go into near the crowd, and I didn't. So, but Gordy needs to be commended that he came up. But next time we're going to coordinate a little bit better, Gordy, so you don't have to run 5 city blocks.
Yeah. My just quick comment, Brian, is the rally was put together by some Dracut students, and I think they did it the right way. It was very peaceful. They walked back and forth. Too bad they got rained out a little bit. There was probably 10 good minutes of hard rain, but they did it the right way, and that's the way it should be done.
Very peaceful. Very peaceful.
George, any comments?
Yeah, no, I mean, you see this on the news. It's, during the day you have the nice peaceful rallies, which I'm all in favor of. As soon as it gets dark, the hooligans seem to come out. But, that's died down a little bit. Hopefully we'll see the last of that.
Okay, so to give you folks at home a little perspective about this video, I'll give you some stats on the video. We've had well over 6,000 views. It was shared 30 times. We had 261 comments, and we had 110 folks like it. And I think at one point there was 325 people watching the video at that one time. So I'm going to kind of get this ready, get it under share, and get it rolling.
The march has officially started. So as you can see, there's probably a few hundred people here. We are witnessing here a large rally. It is swelling as we speak. And you can see there's quite a bit of people here. I'm going to say well over 200 now. see that it's stretching down the street here. Very peaceful protest, very peaceful rally. They are excited. They're heading to City Hall. And we'll see what they do when we get to City Hall. People along the route.
One with a hard one, what's going on? Because my died, because the person that is next to you died, because your mom died, because your dad died, because your cousin, your nephew. You don't want to have to do this because that's why we're here.
I just want you to tell the people why you're here tonight. And
I'm tired of seeing my black brothers who died. I'm tired. Am I the next black person who's gonna die? What am I supposed to tell my future son? Oh, your daddy died? Come up to the white police officer kill him?
Right.
Am I the next? I'm tired.
right,
I came in this country since I was 14 years old. I'm from Liberia. I came in this country. So get to this country, have my rights, I have a better future. I didn't come to this country to see my black brothers die on TV.
what do you think the politicians need to do to change the way that police handle criminals?
We need to stop letting money to put in office because as much money as we have does not make you a good person. Money doesn't make you a good person. Right here, this made us look good person. Like, in this world, in this country,